How long does it take to fix the horn?
Not very long.
John, nice to meet you.
Morning.
Well, I met you before.
Yeah.
But nice for you to be introduced to these guys. Now, we're here obviously at Blue Diamond today just to sort of talk through what we said in the last video of what is underneath the skin of this car and what does it require to get it ready for the Hero trial we're taking part in May.
So in essence what we've done is we always had the car in the workshop and we've given it what we call a health check.
Yeah.
So we've gone through it over a 4-5 hour period and visually check the car and mechanically check the basics. So from that we then produce a list of things that the car needs to do.
Which I have.
Which is a red, amber, green. So red is stuff we have to do, amber is stuff that is nice to do, and green is stuff that kind of definitely is nice to do and do later.
So unfortunately for us,
there's
a bit of a red section.
There's a bit of amber nice to have and only 2 green things. In essence what we've come to is, as with all these older classics, is there's a bit of corrosion, so there's a bit of rot needs addressing, and then there's also some braking issues and some fueling issues. So basically what we now do as a business is we work with you as a customer to say, right, this is what you need to do. We work through that list and we then finish up with a car that hopefully is good enough then to do the rally. Because the old phrase rallies and races are won and lost in the workshop is never truer, because ultimately your prep here has to be of the best quality to get out the door and do the event. On the flip side, I always balance that with Mercedes-Benz have a budget which is significantly bigger than Blue Diamond and yours, and they can't get 2 things to go round and round in a circle every 2 weeks with perfectly modern technology. So you're always, there's potential for failure, there's always the potential for components to go or bad luck, but what we try and do is give you a vehicle that in effect we've gone through all those problems and we've thought of all those things. So we've got a list now to go through with a bit of corrosion, as I say, a bit of braking, a bit of fueling, and then from that point we then give you the platform to do the novice trial, and then you probably go, I want it a bit quicker. I want it. So there's a whole then list of things that go down that path.
So obviously the novice trial is very much for people who want to get a taste for the sport and then sort of how competitive it can go. So I take it we'll keep the car to as standard a spec as you could keep it.
Yeah, and in essence that's exactly right. So it'll be a relatively standard spec. That's because the event doesn't require anything
particular to
do it. And secondly, also from a pure time point of view, we've got an event that you'll both be on in a number of weeks. So there's only so much we can do with our other work schedule.
Because you guys
so
are stacked out.
Initially it will be the basics of getting you a car that stops, starts, runs, and things like trip meters. So you need a Brantz in there.
So can you show us where you'll be fitting these trip meters? Because we will ping a photo in.
So basically, as a navigator, the navigator's office, you will have a panel here which will contain, on the left hand side will be your trip meter, and on the right hand side will be your clock. And the reason it's done left and right is when you look at the navigation books, it runs left to right. So the left hand side is the distance and the right hand side is the time. So you mirror that on this. We'll also put 2 repeater displays here so you can again see both the distance and the time, and that'll be fitted there. So that you will lose, but there'll be a panel somehow fitted in there to incorporate that and allow it to give your navigator what he needs at that stage. And then when we talk about sort of stage 2 and how things move on from things like that, if you then start doing the more stage rally based, you may then finish up where we go, right, we put a roll cage in it to protect you if you turn it upside down. Similarly, a big navigator's reading light. So if you're doing a night section, you know, you need a big illuminated light so you can plot in the car as a navigator.
Which I take it is all kind of stuff that until you've done the rallies to work out that kind of stuff makes it easier for you.
Yeah, until you've done those kind of things, you don't know what you need. And I keep joking with my team that, you know, we rally that Riley Sprite over there, and in essence, by the time I'm probably 80, the car will be exactly the way I want it. Because every event you're going, I just need that. I need to think about this. We recently did the Hero Per Ardua challenge down in Taunton in January, and we finished up with ice and snow underneath the bottom of the sort of passenger footwell where the gear linkage is, so we couldn't get gears. So I now need to devise a snow shield to stop that happening. Well, I've never had that in 6 years of rallying.
Yeah, still learning.
And I'll probably never have it again. So every day is a school day, and you constantly tweaking the car to either performance or to the navigator somewhere else. I don't really want them there. I'm banging my knees. Can you mount them there? Or actually, I want. Some people run with 2 stopwatches because they have one for rally time, and then they have one that if the time goes down. So then they mount stopwatches there. So
which I guess, with going further afield doing the rallies to Europe, you need backups on all of these things to ensure that obviously if you want to compete to any level. Can you quickly go and show me around that headlight that you put in the front of the grille? Because I remember having a conversation with you about you wanted extra light, so you put the LED.
Yeah, so this was a really interesting one. So this is a 1935 Riley Sprite. They made around 55 of them, and there's about 52 left. So kind of Riley's best 2-seat sports. When we did the Monte Carlo rally, obviously these period headlights, no matter what you put in them, they're not particularly brilliant. So we fitted the car with twin LED lights, which were down here. So little tiny things the size of a packet of cigarettes, and the light was utterly amazing.
The light of God.
It was literally like turning, as Peter Kay would say, put the big light on. It was amazing. However, it didn't really look very period at all. It was pretty awful, and a few people said, come on, the car's better than that. So what we then went to is, in period, Riley would run with a single spotlight inside there. So we said, right, we'll do that. And then we went out and kind of went, actually, that's not really good at all. The light pattern was awful. Yeah. So we've then reverted to, in effect, 2 modern lights on the front when we do night events, because you need that. And if we finish up running on an event where you're only allowed 4 central lights, we have a cover and we cover that up, because some regulations are you can only have 4 lights that face forward. Right, you can't have light pods.
Hey yo! It's okay, you can be in it as well. Oh, right. We were just talking about the fact that you'd never done that setup for the lights at all, and obviously keeping it like that, was it just to keep it more within the heritage look?
Yeah, so that was, in effect, the single light was period, and it kept it, because there is a degree of it has to look right as well as it has to function. But with all of this, it's about what you're doing with it. So you can fit the car to the reg. So if I do the Monte Carlo again, a Classique, I'm not bound by LEDs, so I will put LEDs back on. The other thing we do if we go around the rear of the car is, so we have a rally board mounted there for in effect rally plates, and these are little tiny bicycle lights made by Hope up in Clitheroe. Yeah. So they're battery pack modern LED lights that give a huge light spread, because you will be okay with your light pattern. With this, you've got a single light down there and 2 there. A modern motorist is looking for lights
lower down,
sort of this height, not as low down. That isn't very period, an LED light. But if I'm on a night rally, I need it. So I'm quite happy to run with that and look not very period, because it's practical. When I then use the car on a day rally, this comes off, or we take that off, because some of the shorter rallies you don't have a rear plaque, you just have a front plaque. On the bigger ones you have a rear one, so we'll take those off because we know all the running's done in the daylight. So that's again adapting as to how it looks. If you finish up with spots on the car, there will be period spots that were fitted to the Austin Coopers that ran the Monty, and you can get a pod that looks like that. But if that pod isn't very good from a light spread, you might go, I want a modern pod on it.
Well, it's interesting just how much more customization there is part of it, because modern cars they come out of the box, you get them as they are, sort of thing. Whereas it's almost like a life's work of tinkering. I remember you mentioned the thing in the battery cut off, is it in the engine or what?
Oh, underneath. So so the batteries in this car are mounted underneath the seat here. So if you need to jump start the car, you can jump off the engine, but it's a bit of a challenge, so you'd have to take all the kit out. So we then fitted an Anderson plug underneath the seat, so we can, but it's hidden, it's not a plug on the side. So that's the kind of thing where you have to think sideways, and also technology goes around in circles, so you can fit a heated windscreen to the front of your car. What I found out, not this particular car, but this model of car competed in the Monte Carlo in 35, 36, and what Riley did is they fitted a separate screen with a heated element that's stuck on here. So they had a little tiny screen on the driver's side that heated it up. I was like, that's genius. The same with, it had a shovel mounted on that side, so if you hit any kind of snow, you had a shovel there ready. So all these things, we think that we're coming up with new ideas today. Most of it's already been done and dusted and tried.
Absolutely. And the cool thing is just how much you've probably evolved this car. How many years have you been doing rallies now?
Rallies now since 2016 as a business, sort of competitively. So yeah, again, it's a constant. Evolution. You come back, evolution, and I have a notepad, or I put it on my phone, and I'll say, right, that didn't work, this didn't work, change that.
Yeah.
And it's infuriating in a way for the boys because we solved that last time, but you adapt. I've never, as I said earlier, I've never had snow. Mm-hmm. I've done 4 Monte Carlo rallies. I've never had snow block a gear linkage. Yeah. The conditions, the atmosphere, the slush was just so that it did. So we have to solve the problem.
Yeah.
But it's a constant learning curve with rallying.
Yeah.
To both you as adapt as a pair of different events, but also adapt to your vehicle. And what you may find in 5 years' time, that's maybe not powerful enough.
Yeah, exactly.
So you go, I want something else. I learned on the rally down in Somerset that actually this car in a very, very wet, very cold, very snowy environment is a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's just because ultimately you haven't got a heater, you haven't got a proper roof, it's just canvas like this. So one of my customers said, "Oh, J-Lo, you've brought a knife to a gunfight." And I was like, "I bought a plastic spoon." It's a very nice plastic spoon, but it's
not going to serve me very well.
No, it was. I can't put studded tyres on it.
Yeah.
Similarly, when we got to lots of standing water, the exhaust touched the bottom, so you get a lot of condensation. So you're constantly wiping the screen. You've got a heater blower that stops that happening.
And do you guys have a lot of customers that really take their cars to not the most over-engineered way, but in terms of they really go and fine-tune their car as far as they can to win?
Yeah. What I always say to customers is, if we're going to put our name to supporting you, then we need to make sure the car will finish the event.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means that you have to open the checkbook or change the logic to go, well, if that's going to be a problem, I'll change it.
Yeah.
Because if you go and do a Flying Scotsman, it's £4,500 to enter it before you've even got anywhere. So what you don't want to do is, in effect, break down on the event for a £20 component that you haven't changed because you knew it was going to fail. Ultimately, if you're doing things where you are driving to the pub and back, your level of preparation for your car is completely different. My level of prep for this car on the Flying Scotsman is probably there. If I said I was going to do the Peking Paris, which is a 40-day, £50,000 a year event, my preparation would have to go to there because I wouldn't be able to come back to the workshop after 4 days. I'd be out on my own. I think it all varies as to what you're doing. But ultimately, you're on an event, whether it's a £100 Clubman event, whether it's a 5,000 or 50,000, you want to finish. So you've got to make sure if there's a problem, change it. And replace it with something new or have a spare.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess that's the journey we're going to take with the Elf. We're going to learn to evolve it, and I don't know where we're going to be in 6 months to a year, how many rallies we take part in, but it'd be really cool to see, really document how it came, where we get it to, what you guys do, and the ups and downs of it as well. I don't want to pretend that we're not going to see if it does break down or if things go wrong. It
will. Ultimately, it will go wrong. I had to put a post on our Facebook when we did the Per Argira because the Saturday or Friday of that event was the worst days of rallying I've ever had because everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
Yeah.
Even to the point where the maps we had in an open car weren't printed on waterproof paper, so the maps started to kind of disintegrate.
Yeah.
And we had gearbox problems. I'd got something wrong on a test. So all these things, that's part of the jeopardy of doing it. But ultimately, you've got to own it and you've got to share that with people because it isn't all rosy, and this will fail at some point. Our workmanship may fail. We may get something wrong. We may have a component. That's life with human beings.
Yeah, absolutely. Spot on.
Excellent.
Okay, well, I look forward to the journey. I look forward to see what we're going to do with it.
Definitely. And next time we'll be in the workshop where it's just 1 degree warmer.
Excellent. Can't wait.
All right.
Thank you very much, John.
Good to see you. Catch you soon. Take care. Bye.
Well, it's a lot warmer in here. Right. Ben's going to read off what needs doing, and I'm going to guess how many hours of labour it needs.
Okay, can you tell me how long it is required on the Riley Elf to replace the windscreen?
An hour.
4 hours.
4 hours?
4 hours. The fuel filter needs replacing.
The fuel filter needs
replacing.
We're going to get all of these so unbelievably wrong. Half an hour.
0.1 hours, so 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
6 minutes,
okay,
essentially.
Okay, fair. I wasn't too far off.
Yeah. How long does it take to fix the horn?
Not very long.
Well, smart ass. It actually says the horn button sticks occasionally while driving, which takes an hour.
Could you imagine if I pressed that and it stuck? Another thing that we said a lot in the last video that has now come to fruition is the fact that we said the brakes weren't very good. That's because, is it the left-hand side or the right?
I can give you the entire amount of problems regarding the brakes.
Yes.
Left-hand rear brake wheel cylinder seized.
So yeah, so
right-hand rear brake wheel cylinder leaking. Rear brake shoes low and require replacing. Left and right handbrake backplate, dust boots split and require replacing. Many things to do with stopping.
Many. I love how they're different problems as well. Like each brake on the rear has a different issue.
One of my favourites on here is suspect hole covered in the headlining at the front LH corner. Can you tell me what that is? Oh,
here.
There is said suspect hole. Hang on.
We've got a sus hole in the... There. So, that's our suspect hole.
Oh, it's the lighting. There we go.
Are you picking it up?
I've got it.
So we have a suspicious hole that has been previously covered, and there it is.
There's a suspect hole in the car.
So, I obviously knew it was going to be a bit of a learning curve, obviously, but I think I underestimated how much it could potentially be.
Also, how important that actually getting the car fit and fighting for the rally beforehand is. You know, what he was saying about it doesn't really matter in terms of the cost of the rally you enter. If you don't finish, you don't finish on any of them, and that will be down to what you do
in the
absolutely.
workshop.
So the next bit of content you see on this car in particular, we'll have it up on the ramp. Hopefully, we'll take you through the ins and outs. We'll take you through the suspicious hole.
Yes.
Well, whatever's within the suspicious hole. And yeah, we'll go from there, ready for May 22nd to be fit and fighting. I mean, we're gonna have to get everything done in red just to get it roadworthy.
Well, yeah, all the stuff in red has to be done. Yeah, so.
Thank you for watching, and
goodbye.
We'll see you again.